Hello, can you hear me well? Is the sound okay? I was just listening to my own breathing, which is very, very strange. Like it's a horror movie, but you're also the bad guy and the good guy. Not a nice experience. So nice to be here. Such a nice energy that I see, and also a lot of people I was missing already the conference vibe. So it's always nice. A little bit about myself. I'm, of course, alongside the introduction that I just got, not sure what else can I say, but yeah, I'll recap. I'm a technical lead for Signal Health. I'm passionate by software and everything that is happening and how it's impacting our world and how we think about software. So this is why I, from time to time, just create all sorts of presentations or content that I can share, that I can learn from the audience in front of me. So I encourage you to, be active and ask me things. So yeah, let's discuss. And when I'm not in front of the computer, because believe it or not, there are also this kind of times, I like to go hiking. I really, really love outdoors. I like to disconnect and refresh myself. If I can go to the mountain, I go climbing. I'm again trying to disconnect myself and do something that it's actually reminds me of what's important, like not dying or something like this. Also some cycling from time to time, but yeah, it's also refreshing. I highly recommend it if you have the opportunity in nature. It's very cool. And when it comes to even more dangerous things to do, from time to time, I write. Sometimes on Medium when I feel like I have something to say. Sometimes something like this appears, the opportunity to write some words. Somehow being the person that I would have liked to have at some point in my career, giving that kind of knowledge that I would have liked to know when I was in the beginning maybe, or trying to figure out what's this field about. Not sure if anyone knows exactly what's this about, but yeah, let's try. Let's try through conferences like this. So, what we have in here, you joined the Renaissance, yeah, and AI in the same sentence. So in here we have an amazing piece of art from the Renaissance. Some would say that it's actually, the one that actually depicts what's all of this. So I'm going to invite you into a journey in the 15th century Florence, beautiful Florence, the heart of the Renaissance actually, and a time where painters, engineers, philosophers were breaking from the old ways of thinking. Take this piece of art, which is Michelangelo's creation of Adam, and forget about the religious meaning. That's not what we are trying to get, where we are trying to get with it. We are trying to get to see potential. We can see in this picture, in this work of art, exactly the moment before something world-changing is about to happen. Of course, if you're interested in art, also that they are almost close, but not really. So we can think that it's AI and human being almost close, but not still finding their way together, right? So, hence the conversation. So today's Renaissance is not about art, right? The canvas, in our case, is digital. The tools are intelligent. AI already took over, right? It's in here, it's with us. So if the last one, it was about, being freed from the dogma, in this particular situation, it seems that, at least for now, we are being freed from the repetition and trying to focus more on the deep work. So the question isn't if AI is going to write more code. Of course it's going, it is already writing code. The question is, how do we respond to this? How do we look at this? And the first Renaissance, appeared into a time where there was a lot of intellectual stagnation. Right now we are trying to find our way when it comes to either being more productive or thinking more deeply, seeing exactly where we are into this. I wouldn't call it like a storm, but maybe we are in there. We are trying to figure it out. And as you've seen also in the panel before, there are a lot of questions, there are a lot of perspectives. I strongly feel that it's a time where we are lucky to be in this domain and actually seeing this from the inside in a way. So basically, it's a time where we need to just lay back and see exactly what is it that we have to do in this situation. Yes, it's disruptive. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But like before, those who adapt actually will lead further with the advancements. And, you know, we've all wondered, okay, if AI is writing code, fixing bugs, processing pull requests, what's left for us? Are you having this kind of thoughts? I'm just curious. Is anyone in this room, or is just highly confident people and, you know, I'm just going to pack and go home? So I've been wondering about this. I've been thinking about, okay, what's happening? Especially when you see all these voices, yeah, very popular voices, technical influencers, yeah, that are saying that, yeah, just do something else, start gardening, or something like this. AI is taking the tech jobs. Well, the fear actually signals a shift in our roles. Instead of viewing it as a threat, I would think let's see it as an invitation to maybe use better questions. What do humans can do in terms of context, in terms of maybe having experience or creativity? What are the things that no model will grasp without a human? Where exactly are we placed into this little storm that we are having? Because those who thrive during disruption are not the ones that are going against change and rejecting it, are the ones that are transforming this into creative opportunities. And this era demands more than just skill and speed, because we are a lot into this, okay, how can I be better than AI? I'll show my manager I'm better than AI. Like, AI, not so good, but I have all the right answer. That's not about this. It's about perspective, and it's about judgment. And all of this can actually be used used wisely if we are reframing the way we are looking at things. And the best way to reframe is not to, keep running like a lunatic trying to, get in front of AI, see exactly what's the last technology. It's not about seeing exactly who's going to, just take your job in order for that person to, that's not what we are trying to do. But what I'm inviting you to do, and please bear with me, we are not meditating today. Like, I assure you, we are not doing meditation, but I do invite you, take a step back and look at some basic ideas, philosophies that would help us reframe the way we are looking at AI. Let's take, for example, amor fati, right? What Stoicism teaches us, which is, rather than just accepting change, embracing it, seeing AI as a partner and not being afraid of it. Maybe just do a parallel and think about what happened when the first camera appeared. Some hundreds of years later than the Renaissance is real. But think about the painters that were doing very realistic paintings. Yeah, all of a sudden the camera appeared, and it was taking very realistic pictures in a very short time, right? So at that point, they did not start to freak out, but more like trying to see, what can I do that this camera can't? So they started experimenting more with form and with colors and seeing exactly, what's making them special. And that's how these great artistic currents appeared, like surrealism, all sorts of art expressions like expressionism, and all of this that created more than just the usual perfectly shaped painting of a person or of a landscape. So they took it a bit further. Then we can think about Zen. Zen encourages us to keep an open mind, yeah, to have the beginner's mind. So when we are looking right now at what is happening in AI, it's not about trying to already have very strong opinions. We don't know exactly how things are going to evolve. How about we keep an open mind, a beginner's mind, in order to see how we can adjust, what is happening, how things are evolving, instead of just rejecting it or being too confident in it. We are, as I was saying in the beginning, we are in the middle of this, so it's a great opportunity to see and evolve alongside this technology in whatever direction is going to go, because of course we are part of this, so we are also in a way leading in a certain direction. So, as I was saying, I'm not going to now invite you to sit in a lotus position and start meditating, but what I'm trying to say is that it's not silly to look a bit back in time at philosophers and people actually looking at fundamentals of thinking, fundamentals of understanding how the world is going and how we can adjust. Because if technologies change, currents change, what remains are these very, very unique and fundamental ideas and approaches. Then I'm looking around and I'm looking at myself, and I realize that we are living in a world that it's too focused on speed and results, that there is no time to actually, take a break and think deeply at some concepts, understand some underlying concepts and patterns for the technologies that we are using. So we are always around, let's see what we can take further. Let's see how can I, just learn this new technology and move on and have a job and, at the end of the day, close it and go home. Well, I think that the greatest mistake for us, it would be to consider that, okay, this AI is like any other technology that appeared. We are just going to have some agents here and there, and that's it, nothing special. Again, it's a problem of reframing, and I guess everyone knows that this is the Great Wall of China, right? Amazing, amazing building, thousands of miles long. It was thought to protect from invaders, right? That was the purpose. I'm going to create this amazing wall that is going to protect us. So they basically reframe the problem from the perspective of, okay, we are going to, how do we stop invaders from coming in? The problem is that they reframe the challenge in a slightly wrong way, because when it was eventually conquered by invaders, it wasn't because, it wasn't in battle. Actually, it happened in a way, they found some ways to bypass this with, all sorts of sensibility that they had internally in political discussions and all sorts of differences that they are having. Then it's also the fact that being such a large structure, it was hard to maintain. Yeah, so there were gaps, or they were not really, the guards were not really, covering all the areas that they should have. So in the end, the framing from the, one of exclusion, it should have been one of adaptation. The right question, and I will insist a lot on questions today, because we are prompting, right? We are asking questions. This is our way at this point to communicate with AI. So if AI is coming with very good answers, very quickly, answers very, structured, our job is to actually formulate the right questions in order to be able to reframe our thinking from the execution part. So in this case, the better way of putting things, it would have been, how do we ensure that we keep intruders outside by actually taking care of our society, see exactly what are the things where we need to adapt in order to, no matter what kind of intruders or strategies for that matter are going to be applied, we are still going to stay strong. And this is somehow how we are also facing artificial intelligence nowadays. We think, or the first thing that we think about is, How do we stop AI from replacing us? How do we control it? Like, we want to control it to make sure that we are, it's not getting out of hand. We saw those movies with the intelligence and the robots. We don't want to go there. How do we preserve things the way they are? We need stability. We need stability and we need control. But maybe just for a second, we reframe it and think about how can we actually reimagine our world and our roles in this new landscape, right? How do we design tasks, institutions, economies in a way that evolve alongside AI and not trying to resist it, putting effort into trying to fight it back? How do we stop viewing AI as a competitor? Just a little switch. Doesn't hurt to from time to time to do a little exercise and see exactly what are the beliefs that we are having and why we are having those beliefs. Because we are talking about reframing, and I think this is one of the hardest things to do nowadays. I see a lot of posts on LinkedIn about, AI is good, but like, we have intelligence. Like, the human intelligence, no one can bypass that. Am I like, you're scrolling all day, come on. Like, what's the exercise that you're doing for your intelligence? It seems like, oh, I'll be just fine. I don't have to worry about AI because I'm human and I'm intelligent. Like, I have this brain. Well, it's not that easy. When we are living into a world of shortcuts and of speed and of trying to get results as soon as possible, deadlines and so on, we skip a lot of deep thinking. So we are not really, when we are scrolling, when we are copy-pasting, when we are skimming through things, we are not really, working with our intelligence, doing some mental gymnastics. Yeah? And I'm sorry to say it, but the default, it's not really going to help us very much if we don't actually fuel it some information, some exercises. And the reality is that software development is about intellect, problem solving, right? Being able to actually look at a problem from different perspective, being able to have critical thinking. So it's about what is happening with our brains. And this also has to be trained, has to be adjusted. Yeah? And we try to actually find the context and create a context for us to be able to expand in this area. And we are living in a world at this point where knowledge is no longer about memorizing. I remember when I was doing interviews at some point, there were schools or trainings that were teaching people how to respond in an interview for each type of question that might appear at that point. And I could just listen to the text that they are saying, and then the next question was, okay, can you give me an example of a problem with this, or how you can resolve a certain situation? And it was, so if at some point it was acceptable in a way to just have the information and then you can learn what you're going to do with it, right now we can see that AI is kind of doing the automating those tasks. And what we have to do is actually using knowledge in the context of connection and creating context. So it's not about memorizing. It's not about something static. It's something that comes as a dynamic process that involves human, or at the center of which is the human being. And this is the kind of things that we need to step away from when it comes to maybe learning new things or adapting, if we want. If we don't want, maybe gardening is also always a good idea. I've been thinking about it, to be honest. So, and why I'm saying this about knowledge precisely and about not being a store, because AI will produce more code than us, right? No matter how much we try to be faster than it and deliver more and be better at this, AI is doing this very good, and it's going to become better, I assume. The patterns are improving. Of course, small parenthesis, every time we are saying, oh, this tool that is giving me code suggestion is so stupid, doesn't understand, doesn't, like it suggested me such a strange thing, just think that AI is training on our code, like all of us. Yeah, so let's keep it humble and, prompt it again, for that matter. So let's keep the idea that we are going to achieve more by working harder. The truth is that we are going to advance by thinking better and making smarter choices, because our value does not come from the number of tickets that we are closing. And I was just mesmerized and speechless when I saw that there are still managers that are basically evaluating performance by the number of commits. Like, this is very interesting take. I'm very interested on what's the logic behind it, because what is more important than the number of tickets that we close is how we lead the conversation even before the first line of code is written. What exactly is happening before that point? Because then, we go alongside with our partner, the AI tool that we are using each in our day-to-day work. So things are getting more, straightforward in that direction. And I've been listening, I think, some months ago to a podcast where author Adam Grant, this is something that remained into my mind and I want to share it, was saying that the people who succeed today aren't the ones that collect the most facts, but the ones that actually are able to connect those dots. So the metric has shifted. It's not about what we already know. It's about how we can figure things out, how we can create solutions for the problems that we are having. And in the world that keeps changing, because as we were discussing before, things are evolving and changing a lot, flexibility and curiosity is what we actually need to focus at this point. Because just think about this. How many of you have kids? Do you remember that age? Maybe 4 or 5, when they are somewhere between that those numbers, when they are asking why. But why is the sun yellow? And you're like, oh my God, I'm in a call right now. I can't focus on this, right? And then you're just giving an answer, and they are like, but why? But why? This kind of curiosity is what we need in order to drive innovation and in order to, get to the bottom of the problems that we need to solve. This kind of exercise we need to do in order to have the answers of why we are scared of what is going to happen with our jobs, why we are not accepting to work with AI maybe in some cases, why we are fearing about the way things are going to evolve in that society. And consider what is worth learning now. Yeah, maybe mental models, trying to see exactly how we can shape things, how we can think of solutions in a way that it's actually giving deep, more valuable solutions than just the ones that we are getting while just looking at the field that we are working with, just the domain that we are working with. Expand a bit, cross-domain, to see exactly what insights we can take for there. Maybe some system thinking, trying to understand how things connect in the work that we are doing. What is impacting why? When something appears, an issue, try to see exactly why that happened, not let's solve it and move on because we have a deadline. Or, of course, prompt engineering, right? We need to learn how to work with these tools. So we are not just going into the direction of, okay, if I'm going to become very, very smart, I don't need AI tools. No, they are part of our reality at this point. We are working with them. We need to learn to use them as efficiently as possible, and not, struggling into trying to get some results. So basically, we are discussing about, things that are going outside of our domain. And again, let's go back to the Renaissance. Do you know who this guy is? Leonardo. Leonardo da Vinci. Well, as you all know, he is the author of Mona Lisa, Vitruvian Man, but also he was not only a painter. For his paintings, of course, he used also information from engineering and from anatomy, but at the same time, he was a great inventor too, like using nature, engineering, and art together in order to create some spectacular inventions. So I really urge you to actually look into his work. It's very interesting and very inspiring because he was the heart, he was a symbol in a way of the Renaissance era. And why being a polymath in 2025, you might ask me. And of course I will answer to you because I'm nice like that. Because we are not building just components and APIs anymore. Yeah, AI can do that also for very good. I remember I think in my beginning years of being a developer, I joined a very nice team, professionals, and you know, they were respecting all these patterns and architecture. I learned a lot. But at some point, I was just creating components and APIs under the same pattern. So basically, we were just doing the same things with other parameters and you know, just some small changes here and there. But it was the same use case. So I just left the team in a way in order to find something that is daring me, you know, it's giving me more excitement and actually feeling that I can learn in order to evolve further. And this only occurred to me, you know, these days while I was thinking about the presentation, that actually at that point, without me even knowing it, I was trying to understand the bigger context and get away from the thing that AI now can do. You know, the repetitive work that AI is doing. And do you remember when we were showing off the syntax skills and the programming languages? Like, no, .NET is better. Java, no, Java is not. React is better. Angular, no, Angular is cooler because it's more mature and so on. You remember? If we're looking back right now, isn't that interesting to, like, does it matter at this point which one is still better? So and so. If we look at them, they are, you know, pretty much similar. So the difference actually is in us analyzing if there is something that actually sets them apart in such a way that really brings value to the business and to what we are trying to build in the end. You know, also in the high-level decisions that we need to make. So we are talking about, you know, being a polymath and what it means for our brain and actually what it means for us to build knowledge. And I was telling you before that we discuss about system thinking, mental models, and cross-domain information, tangled a bit, yeah, here and there, with the prompting and knowing how to prompt AI. So we are combining our judgment and the way we are able to think about solutions with AI, keeping in mind that judgment and training our judgment is what will actually help us in the moments when, okay, I am at the point where I need to make a decision, and I have the, you know, that moment that even the logic is telling me that I should do things in a certain way, like mathematics are telling me to do it in a certain way. I have the experience, it's adding to judgment. I have the experience, I have the, you know, the flair that we are gaining with experience. You know, I have that feeling on how to work with complex situations, even though some patterns are telling me that I should act in a certain way. So this is judgment, is our ability to work through complex situations, yeah, by actually being able to see exactly where patterns end and where, you know, empathy, experience, past situations, just human sensibilities are happening, and also are important. And also this is happening, or is creating value as we do it over and over and over again. Yeah, experience is not something that is happening overnight. So as machines are providing answers, our role shifts into interpreting and working with those answers. And of course, again, there is a talk about the questions that what we are asking when we are doing this kind of process. I think that I'm going to continue with the subject of questions for the entire presentation. But I was mentioning before about mental models. Does anyone knows these books? Okay. I recommend you to look for them because these are very good, straightforward books that offer really good insight and examples on what it means to create mental models, how they help us. I won't go into very much detail about it because I have another session that's completely on mental models and all of this, so I won't go into this, but I strongly recommend you to look into this. Just start with the red one, which is the basis of the principles, giving applicable to every field out there. So just think about the fundamentals of thinking and how to reshape our way to look at problems. Then I was mentioning before questions and system thinking now together. And have you ever just stopped and thought about, okay, if I'm doing A, then B is going to happen. Okay, that's it. Let's create user stories or something like this. My job here is done. Well, this is linear thinking. But when it comes to system thinking, we are going a bit beyond this. It's if A is happening, and it goes to B, and then from B it goes back to A, and from A maybe it's going to C, D, and maybe there are some delays. These are actually the kind of situations that we are having in real life, but we call them corner cases. Because it's easier to say, this can't be easily detected before. It's a corner case, it's something that we can do. And we've all had these situations with our users, thinking like, how this user just combined our features in a way that this failed. It's incredible. Well, this is happening all the time in nature, in our society. And there are these principles for system thinking, or learning the concepts behind it, that actually help us model consequences and not just features. Because we are a lot in our work building features, right? Are you ever calling them other way? No, we are building features. Are we? No, what else do we build? Bugs. I see what you did there. Honesty at its best. I like this. But yes, we are creating bugs also. And there we call them corner cases. But what I'm trying to say is that let's step away from the tech and see what we can learn from the real world. For example, think about the cities that have a lot of cars and where the driving is just horrible. Yeah? It might seem that if we go from A to B, okay, we have a lot of traffic, so we need to create better and more roads, right? And we create more roads and we realize that the problem appears again after some time. This is actually a system thinker, or someone that is using system thinking patterns would think, this is a feedback loop. Yeah, I have to identify exactly what is happening. So I'm looking right now at it in the wrong way. It's the wrong feedback loop, because as a system thinker, I will think, okay, first of all, traffic, urban design, human behavior, they are all related, okay? So instead of saying, how can I just get rid of all the cars that are in the, on the streets, maybe we need to step away and think, why are people using their cars so much in the first place? Because you know what is happening? Not always where the problem appears, it's the actual root cause also. So the problem appears in one place. We need to take a step back and look, okay, why is this actually happening? So again, as I was saying also for the mental models, try to understand, try to go through them, build the critical thinking, and build this attitude that we were discussing in the beginning, embracing even the problems that appear in our systems, not only the successes. Okay, what can I learn from this? How can I look at it from a different perspective in order to just go one step closer to the very good product that I'm trying to build? Because I'm just thinking, when we are building something, it's not like we are just shipping it into somewhere in the space and then yeah, that's the end. No, when we are shipping that's the beginning. That's actually the beginning of seeing what is happening with this. Just because your system is passing all tests, worked very well in your test environment, it seems that it deployed okay. So I am just adding the label in production, and that's it. I don't care anymore. What we create shapes behavior, how people shop, how people learn, how people even sleep, right? So it's not just about solving problems, it's about shaping choices for the ones that are using our products. And every line of code goes beyond, the frustration that I have in my team, or the timeline that I'm having, and that it's not really, I'm having like deadlines all the time. Yeah. So please, you are the judgment layer. You are the context that pushes back and asks, is this really right? Is this something that in the direction of which I want to go? Because AI doesn't know, it doesn't feel, it just optimizes. It doesn't think, is this okay from the perspective of ethics and so on? No, it's just giving you what you're asking. And then the most important layer appears, which is you. So don't give this role away. And because we have to assume it. We are working into this environment that is always changing and always evolving. So I think that this is going to be a moment in time where we are going to see exactly and be completely honest with ourselves and see exactly, okay, do I actually enjoy doing this? Is this what I want to do? Does this struggle and this, always trying to adjust to the new thing and trying to learn is something that I really liked, or I'm just, in this field because at some point it was really cool to be in this domain, being a developer, programmer, or how our grandmas think that we are just helping them to do the computer work. So I think that this is going to be a very interesting thing to see in the next years, because there is always something to learn. And what was cutting edge, I don't know, yesterday, today it already became boilerplate, right? Just think about Python, right? Some years ago it was like dismissed, not so important. Right now it's the superstar of the AI revolution. So that's where we are. That's what we are doing. So it's not there is no simple answer. I can give you the answer of what to learn. What can I learn exactly, the 5 steps? There is no the 5 steps, the 10 steps, and so on. But what we can do is work on our judgment, try to think outside our domain and to understand other concepts too, not just the very technical ones. And also try to, if you're passionate and you love what you're doing, try to build a world that is not going to, become again very unstable when the next technology is going to appear. So try to create knowledge and expertise and products that are actually strong in the face of change, in the face of you know, the big next thing or the next big thing. And something that I really liked, again, I saw this, and I really like Ray Dalio's writing and how he's looking at things. But this specific quote resonated with me in a very deep way because, and I quote, "Opinions are a dime a dozen, and nearly everyone will share theirs with you. Many will state them as if they are facts. Don't mistake opinions for facts." You are going to hear a lot of opinions in the next period. Already we are seeing them, but in the next period, about what is going to happen, how things are going to evolve. And some are more aggressive, some are more balanced. It's important that we are able to actually see exactly what information we are taking for that and what we let trigger us in the end, trigger our eagerness to learn more or to give up on this domain. And since I started with you know, basic principles of philosophy, as I was telling you in the beginning, I'll close also with a short story. It's an ancient one, so it's from Plato, but it fits today perfectly. So he has, in his allegory of the cave, he is speaking about some people that were chained, so they can't move. They are facing a wall, and behind them there is a fire. Between them, and the fire, there are objects passing by. So they are seeing only the shadows of those objects that are casting the shadows on the wall. For those people, that is their reality. That's what they know. Yeah? They don't know anything else about the world. That's the reality, whatever object passes in between. But at some point, someone breaks free. And at the beginning, it's very scary, you know. But step by step, it becomes interesting because you can see water and plants and all sorts of trees and nature. And actually, you can see the objects that before were the reality, and start to see at a bigger level. And of course, in the end, the sun, that is the source of all truth and understanding. Sounds familiar? Yeah. Let's think that maybe that person is going back into the cave trying to tell the others, okay, look what I've seen. Look, it's very interesting. Let's try. Let me help you. Let's try together and shape you know, our reality in a different way. But the others are scared. They are so comfortable with their reality and the control that they are having on their reality that are just, you know, rejecting the idea and staying in that cave. And I think that this is where we are right now in the work that we are doing. For a very long time, we shaped this reality about what software development is, right? And we had this object passing behind our backs. The only reality were the shadows that we are seeing. Maybe the tools that we've been using, maybe the influencers, the technical influencers that we've been following. But just for a second, try to get free out of that. Try to look in another direction. It's scary. It can be terrifying to actually see that you have to do a complete rethinking of your role and the value that you're bringing, and also if the value that you're bringing is also valuable economically, because we can't ignore this part. But what's important is that the cave can be behind us. Yeah, we can leave it behind. Even though the light is harsh and scaring at some point, it reveals something bigger. You know, it reveals opportunity, something to do after this with the experience maybe that we've been gaining. Don't fear it, walk in it, and if you find your way out already and you are experimenting and playing with all sorts of tools and ideas and reading books, let the others know also. Share what you are learning and do it in a way that you know, it's not disruptive, it's just contributing. Thank you.